Welcome to today's deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at AI research,
Okay.
but we're going to be doing things a little differently. We're not going to be reading entire research papers. Instead, we're just going to be looking at the titles and the abstracts from a collection of AI research papers. And these are all from academia.edu. So you might be surprised by how much we can actually learn from just these little snippets.
Yeah, it's true. Even with just a title and an abstract, you can really get a sense of the trends and directions in AI research. It's a fast-moving field, and this is going to allow us to cover a lot of ground today.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The first title that really caught my eye is Smart Multi-Level Tool for Remote Patient Monitoring Based on a Wireless Sensor Network and Mobile Augmented Reality. Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah,
I am intrigued, but I have to admit I might need a little help unpacking this one.
of course. So this title is pointing to a really exciting area of AI research, which is healthcare. So imagine a system where patients can be monitored remotely using wearable sensors, and doctors can use augmented reality to visualize that data in real time. This kind of technology has the potential to revolutionize patient care, especially for people in remote areas or with limited access to healthcare facilities.
That's incredible. It really does sound like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's actually being researched and developed right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, you ready for another one?
Yeah.
This one's a little bit different. It is the palliative medication kit, an effective way of extending care in the home for patients nearing death. Now, this one seems a little less high-tech on the surface, so how does AI play a role here?
That's a great question. While this title may not scream at AI at first glance, if you think about the potential for AI to personalize care, AI algorithms can actually analyze a patient's medical history, their symptoms, and even their preferences to help determine the best or optimal palliative care plan. This could ensure that patients are receiving the right medication and support at the right time, improving their quality of life during a really difficult period.
Wow, I never would have thought of that connection. That's really interesting. It shows how AI can have an impact in areas that we might not expect. Okay, this next one is really throwing me for a loop. It is building a house in Jana. I'm not sure I see the AI connection here.
Yeah, you're right to be puzzled. This one just highlights the fact that academia.edu has research from a huge variety of disciplines, not just AI. So it's a reminder that while we're focusing on AI today, there's a whole universe of knowledge out there.
That's a good point. It's easy to get tunnel vision when you're diving deep into one specific area. Okay, brace yourself for this next one. It is a bit of a tongue twister. Monte Carlo simulations of polyalanine using a reduced model and statistics-based interaction potentials. I think I'm going to need a translator for this one. What in the world are Monte Carlo simulations?
Don't worry, it sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. Monte Carlo simulations are a classic technique in AI, and they're particularly useful for dealing with complex systems and probabilities. Essentially what they do is they use random sampling to estimate the likelihood of different outcomes. So even though this title sounds incredibly technical, it's actually using a pretty well-established AI method.
So even in this very complex sounding research, we're seeing some familiar AI techniques being used. That's pretty interesting. It's like we're getting a glimpse into how researchers are taking these established methods and applying them to new and challenging problems.
Exactly. AI research is all about building on those foundations and constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Now, we've seen a pretty diverse set of research titles here, which might make you wonder, are there any common threads connecting them?
Yeah, we've gone from like high-tech healthcare solutions to personalized palliative care to, well, building houses in a different realm.
Yeah.
It does seem pretty random. Is there any rhyme or reason to this collection?
There is. And while the applications appear diverse on the surface, they actually point to some dominant themes in AI research. And that's what we'll explore next. So one major theme that we see is the rise of machine learning, and specifically deep learning. So think about teaching a computer to learn from data. Like how you learn to ride a bike, you got better over time with practice and feedback. Deep learning algorithms do something very similar, but with massive amounts of data.
Right. I've heard a lot about deep learning. It seems like it's being used for just about everything these days.
It is, and we saw hints of that in some of the titles that we just discussed. Remember that paper on Monte Carlo simulations? Well, those simulations are often powered by deep learning algorithms that can crunch numbers and make predictions based on patterns in the data.
So even though that title sounded super technical, it was connected to this broader trend of deep learning and AI research.
Exactly. Another big theme that we see is this convergence of AI with other technologies. And this was really apparent in that paper that we looked at about using augmented reality for remote patient monitoring. We're seeing AI being combined with robotics, with sensor networks, virtual reality, you name it. And this integration is leading to some really interesting and exciting possibilities.
So it's not just about AI working in isolation. It's about AI becoming part of this larger technological ecosystem. That makes a lot of sense. It's like how smartphones combine so many different technologies into one device and completely change the way we live and interact with the world.
That's a great analogy. And speaking of smartphones, think about how AI is already integrated into a lot of the apps that we use every day. From personalized recommendations on streaming services to voice assistants that can understand our commands, AI is becoming increasingly embedded in our daily lives.
That's true. I hadn't even thought about that. It's like AI is becoming so pervasive that we almost don't even notice it anymore. It's just seamlessly integrated into our world.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that is closely tied to these advancements in AI, and that's the potential impact on jobs in the workforce. Remember that paper title that we saw earlier about building houses?
Yeah, the one that didn't seem related to AI at all.
Right. Well, even though that specific paper wasn't focused on AI, it reminds us that the world of work is always evolving as new technologies emerge. Old jobs disappear, new ones are created.
So you're saying that AI is part of this larger trend of technological change that's been happening for centuries?
Precisely. Think about the Industrial Revolution. The invention of things like the steam engine and the power loom led to significant job displacement in certain industries. But it also created new opportunities in manufacturing engineering and other fields. AI has the potential to bring about similar shifts in the workforce.
So while some jobs might be automated by AI, new jobs will likely emerge in areas related to developing, managing, and maintaining these AI systems.
Exactly. It's not about AI taking over all the jobs. It's about understanding how AI will reshape the workforce and preparing for those changes.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's about adapting to change and embracing the new opportunities that AI will bring. But with all of these changes happening, how can we ensure that the benefits of AI are shared widely and that everyone has a chance to succeed in this new landscape?
That's a crucial question, and it brings us to another important theme that's often discussed alongside AI, and that's accessibility and equity. How can we make sure that AI technologies are developed and deployed in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few?
Yeah, that makes sense. AI shouldn't just widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. It should be used to create a more equitable and just society.
Absolutely. And that involves thinking carefully about things like access to education and training, the potential for bias in AI systems, and creating policies that ensure a fair distribution of the benefits that AI can bring.
So it's about being mindful of the potential downsides of AI while also harnessing its power for good. It sounds like a delicate balancing act.
It is. And it requires a collaborative effort from researchers, policymakers, educators, and society as a whole.
This conversation has really opened my eyes to the complexity of AI and its impact on the world. We've talked about the rise of machine learning, the convergence of AI with other technologies, the potential impact on jobs, and the importance of accessibility and equity. Is there anything else we should touch on before we move on?
There is one more theme I think that's worth highlighting, and it's very closely related to what we've been discussing, and that is the importance of responsible AI development.
Okay, tell me more about that.
As AI becomes more powerful and more pervasive, it's crucial that we develop and use it responsibly. And this means thinking about the ethical implications of AI, ensuring that AI systems are transparent and accountable, and working to mitigate potential risk.
So it's not just about building cool AI. It's about building AI that aligns with our values and benefits society as a whole.
Exactly. And this involves having open and honest conversations about the potential downsides of AI, setting clear guidelines for its development and use, and constantly evaluating and refining our approach as the technology evolves.
It sounds like responsible AI development is going to be absolutely crucial as we navigate the future of this technology.
Absolutely. It's something that we all need to be thinking about regardless of our technical background or expertise.
This has been such an insightful discussion. I feel like I have a much better understanding now of the current state of AI research and the key themes that are shaping the field. But I'm curious, what do you think our listeners should take away from this conversation?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is not just this futuristic concept. It's already here, and it's impacting our lives in countless ways, whether it's the algorithms that power our social media feeds, the voice assistants that answer our questions, or the medical technologies that are improving patient care, AI is becoming increasingly integrated into our world.
And it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the broader societal implications that come along with it. We need to be thinking about the impact of AI on jobs, on equity, on ethics, and ultimately on the future of our world.
Exactly. AI has the potential to bring about some really incredible advancements, but it also presents us with some pretty profound challenges. And it's up to all of us to ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
I think that's a perfect place to wrap up our deep dive today. Thank you so much for joining us for this exploration of AI research, and we'll see you next time. It feels like we've only just scratched the surface here.
I know, right?
It's a vast and complex field.
Yeah. AI research, it's constantly expanding and evolving. What we've explored today is really just a snapshot of what's happening right now.
It makes you wonder what the future holds for AI. I mean, this is where we are now. Imagine where we'll be in 5 or 10 years.
It really is mind-boggling to think about. But based on what we've seen in these research titles and abstracts, I think it's safe to say that AI is going to continue to play an increasingly prominent role in our lives.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And it's not just going to be about, developing new algorithms and technologies. It's going to be about how we integrate AI into our society, our workforce, even our daily routines.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the potential benefits and the challenges that AI presents and finding ways to harness its power for good.
Well, this has been an incredibly fascinating deep dive. I feel like I've gained a much better understanding of the world of AI research, even just from looking at these little snippets of information.
Me too. It's amazing how much we can learn from just a title and an abstract.
So for our listener out there, what's the one thing you hope they take away from this deep dive?
I hope they come away with a sense of curiosity and excitement about the possibilities of AI. It's a field that's full of potential, and it's going to be incredibly interesting to see how it unfolds in the years to come.
Well said. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of AI research. We'll see you next time.